Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. I do think there was something significant that happened at the Seattle Regional, or as my buddy Mike Luke calls it, Rainy Smelly Seattle, in honor of the Washington football coach Jedd Fisch, who left Arizona for Washington. But I bring it up because, listen, it was an interesting regional. You don't really know what you're going to expect, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Well, I bring it up because Arizona comes into this game, and Arizona's just kind of, I just feel like for the most part, largely quietly been off the radar for most of the season. They struggled in the out of conference, and we're gonna talk about the game on Friday night. But they struggled in the out of conference, so it felt like even when they got good, they were completely like not underseeded, but underranked in the polls. And I don't think anybody realized how good Arizona was all year. They go to the Big 12 tournament championship game, beating Kansas and Kansas, beating Texas Tech, and going into the NCAA tournament. You weren't really sure. I'll tell you this: we're doing all the survivor pools, NCAA brackets. I did pick Arizona to win. But this felt like a game where we could potentially see an upset. Akron is a top 10 scoring team in college basketball, averaged 84 points per game coming into this one. You worried about Akron. Could they scare Arizona? The only thing that was scary was the Arizona performance, because they get the victory. 93-65 Arizona wins. And I'm here to tell you, I really do think that we could be talking about a situation where Arizona is, in my opinion, potentially the most underrated team left in this tournament. So let's go ahead and dive in. First of all, Friday night, it was just sheer dominance. There's no other way to put it. Again, Akron came into the game averaging 83 points per game. They put up 65 on 33% shooting from the field. They shoot 28% from three, 7 of 25. Arizona dominates the glass, out-rebounding them by 29 boards. How about this? For a team that sometimes struggles with 21 assists for the Arizona Wildcats on 39 made baskets. It was beautiful, okay? It was a thing of beauty. Everybody contributed, and it was interesting even listening to the game. Robbie Hummel's great, but he does a lot of Big Ten games. He does a lot of Big East games. I don't think he's probably seen Arizona in person this year. And you kind of could just hear him like, oh, this team checks all the boxes. Jalen Rose, who obviously I don't believe has done any college basketball at all that I'm aware of this year, was on the call as well. They were so impressed. And I think you saw what this team is capable of in this game. First of all, you look across the board, just contributions from everybody. Trey Townsend, I know he has taken a little bit of heat from the fan base. He was the high-profile transfer, ironically, from Oakland, struggled during the regular season. He looks like old school March Trey Townsend. I believe my buddy Mike Luke has coined that term, so I'm sorry if I stole that from you, Mike. I love you, buddy. 16 points, 8 boards for Trey Townsend. Jaden Bradley, even in a sport where most of these teams have kind of that guard that can be a difference maker off the dribble, get to the rim, create fouls, this, that. Jaden Bradley is a different speed. He finishes the game with 19 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, and then let's do it. Let's have the conversation about my boy Carter Bryant, okay? By the way, I have a buddy by the name of Carter Bryant who covers LSU football. Another conversation. I'm talking about Carter Bryant, who plays for the Arizona Wildcats. So I've been on Carter Bryant probably since the Battle for Atlantis, and this kid, he's unbelievable, okay? Tommy Lloyd brings him off the bench. He plays the veteran Trey Townsend. Carter Bryant is one of the five best NBA prospects in college basketball. 6'8", does a little bit of everything. I keep saying it. I was at UConn at the same time as Rudy Gay. Okay, Rudy Gay might not necessarily totally ring a bell for you, but he was a McDonald's All-American, goes to UConn, was really good as a freshman. Actually, the rare player in that era that decided to come back for a second season, plays like an All-American, is a top 5 pick. But here's what you need to know about Rudy Gay. Just retired from the NBA prior to the start of this season, played 18 years in the NBA. Carter Bryant reminds me exactly of him. 6'8", shoots threes, so smooth, takes you off the dribble, finishes, athletic, defends, two-way. And you just started to see what this guy is capable of, scratching the surface of that potential in this game. 12 points in just 20 minutes of play, 2 3-pointers made. By the way, one of the 3-pointers he missed, grabbed the rebound and threw down an insane dunk, 5 rebounds, 3 blocks. I think it was Robbie Hummel that said, yeah, he's putting together a pretty sick NBA draft tape mix, okay? And so look, whether Carter Bryant goes pro or not, that's another conversation for another day. But as I was watching Arizona, it just really struck me. This team has a little bit of everything that you need to compete in the tournament. What do you need? Veteran guards, Jaden Bradley, third-year player, was a McDonald's All-American, by the way. Caleb Love, fifth-year player, was obviously a McDonald's All-American, Final Four hero. KJ Lewis will one day be an NBA player, although obviously I think he's regressed. Carter Bryant, NBA player. You go on and on down the list. By the way, great call by producer Matt. We do have our Torres on Arizona page. If you're a Wildcats fan, you better be following Torres on Arizona. Mary does an amazing job. She's our intern who helps run that. Torres on Arizona, okay? But I bring it up, all the pieces. Toby Awaka, beast. Again, a Mike Lukeism. He's got a lot of girth, okay? That guy's girthy. Henry Visar off the bench. I mean, they have a little bit of everything. And I think what stands out to me, again, just feel like one of the more underrated teams in the sport going into the heart of this tournament. This was a team, listen, we've talked about it time and time again. At one point, we know that they were 4-5, right around Christmas time, okay? They lose to UCLA in Phoenix, you think the season's over. I don't think people realize how good this team has been, though, okay? So since they went 4-5, do the math. They are obviously 19-7 overall. Since let's see here. Since they beat Texas Tech, which is a great win in its own right, on February 8th, they only have, now it sounds like a lot. They have 5 losses. But 5 losses in the last 6 weeks, okay? But 2 of them were to Houston. 1 was at Iowa State. 1 was at Kansas. The other one was at Kansas State, which, by the way, was a talented team playing well at the time. But I just bring it up because you basically go back until the 1st of January, until Christmas time. They really don't have a bad loss outside of that Kansas State game. And so I just bring it up because when I look at this team, again, made a run at the Big 12 tournament, beat Texas Tech twice. Like, a lot of people think Texas Tech is a Final Four team. The more that I watch them, the more that I worry a little bit. But I just bring it up because you look at Arizona, what pieces don't they have? And you can't say that they aren't battle tested. Played in the Big 12. By the way, I thought it was interesting. They talked about it on the broadcast today. Tommy Lloyd felt like, okay, I come from Gonzaga, coached in the WCC, coached in the Pac-12. That didn't prepare us for March the way that the Big 12 did, and it's better to take a few more losses in league play and be prepared for this tournament than be underprepared from playing in a weaker conference. And so Arizona is checking all the boxes. Again, they're playing, I think, much better than people realize. Again, because of that 4-5 start. Listen, I'm not a huge believer in West Coast bias, but I do think there was some West Coast bias there. A lot of late night games, midweek games, Monday, Tuesday games, 10, 11 o'clock, Eastern time. People just aren't staying up. And I saw them at the end of the year. They're ranked like 24th in the country, 23rd, 19th, 18th, 21, whatever. It's like that team is so much better than people realize. And so Arizona right now, listen, they're peaking. They're playing really well. Again, good week at the Big 12 tournament. Beat Kansas in Kansas City. Beat Texas Tech for a second time. By the way, the Houston game, they were up at half and kind of in control, and then Houston just went all Houston on them. So I really like this Arizona team. They draw Oregon, who I believe has just about closed out their game. They have officially beaten Liberty. They'll play Oregon. I think they match up really well with Oregon. And I'll tell you what, a very interesting potential Sweet 16 matchup waiting with the Duke Blue Devils.